A real key to seeing progress in your game is understanding how to practice. I'm PGA teaching professional Todd Kolb, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a couple key concepts to get the most out of your practice session. Now today, we're going to talk about 4 specific things. 4 things that we're going to call the buckets. The 4 buckets that are always in place when we have a good practice plan for a golf game. Now these concepts you can use no matter how long you're going to practice. Maybe your practice session might be an hour in length, maybe it's going to be 3 hours, or maybe it's all day. It doesn't matter, but no matter how long you're practicing, you should have these core concepts in there. So let's go through them, and then we're going to talk about some specifics in them. So the first bucket is what I call the technique bucket. And this is where most people live. This is where they go to practice, and their sole focus is just to work on their technique. So maybe they're working on their takeaway. All right, they got a specific thing in their takeaway that they're working on, so they spend their whole practice session living in this bucket. Now, will they get better? Yeah, they're going to get better. Their technique's going to get better. I can't necessarily say they're going to play better golf, but their technique will probably get better. But there's a lot of things that go into playing good golf. One of those things is tempo. So we have a tempo bucket. So what is tempo? Well, tempo is like rhythm. Okay, it's flow. You know how some days the swing just feels better? Things are kind of coming together. I just use the word tempo. Some people will call it rhythm. You know, some people might say I'm in the zone, those types of things. But we need to practice that. We need to practice the ability to have good tempo or good rhythm. The third bucket is the balance bucket. All right, the balance bucket. There's a lot happening in the golf swing, and you have to be in balance to hit quality golf shots. That is a learned skill. It's something that you can practice, and that's why we have that as one of our buckets. The fourth bucket is what I call the performance bucket. Now, the performance bucket is basically where you practice the essence of hitting a shot, absent of technique. This is where you're performing. This is kind of like, all right, it's go time. It's time for me to execute the shot. And I'll give you a couple of ways that you can practice that. So any good practice plan, no matter how long it is, should always have some technique, it should have some tempo, it should have some balance, and it should have some performance. Now we're going to talk about specific examples for the full swing, but you could use the same 4 buckets in any aspect of your game. So you could use it for putting. If you're going to go work on your putting, there should be something related to your technique, something related to tempo, balance, and performance. Same way for chipping or whatever. So let's go into a couple examples. So let's say you're going to work on your full swing. You're going to go to the driving range, and you've got maybe an hour. All right, here's how I would devise that hour for you to spend. So you got some technique. Hopefully you're working with a coach, or you got some things that you're working on. And let's say, for sake of discussion, that you're working on your grip. All right, pretty simple, pretty easy. So I'm going to write that in there. All right, now, how many shots? How many shots am I going to hit in each bucket? Well, I'm going to suggest. Now you can vary this a little bit, but I'm going to suggest that you hit 3. Okay. I'm going to suggest that you hit 3 shots. So you're going to hit 3 golf shots, and your whole purpose, your whole focus is on just making sure that your technique, i.e. the grip, is where you want it. Now notice when we're working on technique, we're only working on one thing. We didn't list 3 things in the technical bucket. We only have one thing. It's the grip. We're going to hit 3 shots. Then what we're going to do is we're going to switch clubs. All right? So let's say we hit these 3 here. Let's say we used our 7-iron. All right, then we're going to switch clubs. Now, why do I have you switch clubs? Because I want you to practice golf. All right? In golf, you're not hitting 57 irons in a row. You hit 1. All right, hopefully 1, and then hopefully you're using your putter or something like that, right? But you're going to use a 7. Now we're going to switch the tempo. We're going to grab a different club. Maybe we're going to grab a 5-iron for sake of discussion. All right, you can grab really any club you want, but I'm just going to put down we're going to use our 5-iron. So you would do a specific drill designed for tempo. So one of the ones that we use here at the Academy have great success with is what we call pause and go. So in essence, what we do is we take it to the top, we pause, 1001, 1002, and then we go ahead and make the downstroke. It's a way for the golfer to feel the rhythm and the tempo by separating the backstroke and the downstroke. And once again, we're going to go through there and we're going to hit 3 shots. Okay? Now we're going to transition from tempo. Now we're going to work to balance. Once again, we're going to switch clubs. This time, maybe we're going to use a 9-iron. Let's use a 9-iron for sake of discussion. And we're going to hit 3 shots. And we're going to do a balance drill. Now there's tons and tons of different balance drills that you can use. We've got a variety of them on usgolftv.com that you could check out. But let's say the balance drills, you're just hitting shots off your lead foot. So as a right-handed golfer, I'm just hitting shots off my left foot. And I'm just focused solely on the balance. All right, then we're going to move to performance. This time, once again, I'm going to switch clubs. So let's do something fun this time. Let's go to the driver. And once again, we're going to hit 3 shots. Okay. Now, in the performance bucket, what you're going to do is you're going to work on performing. You're going to practice the skill of letting go of the technique, letting go of the tempo, letting go of the balance, letting go of all of these thoughts and solely focusing on just the target and trying to execute a quality golf shot. So you would take the club out of your bag, you'd go through your entire routine, you'd hit the shot. You'd come back, tee it up again, go through your entire routine, hit the shot. You're practicing basically playing golf in the performance state. So that would be how I would hit right there. That's 12 shots. And I would work that cycle. Now next time through, I'd probably switch clubs and go through. And maybe I've got a couple different drills in my tempo, my balance, and I'd kind of keep cycling through that way. And that's how I would devise a practice plan when we head to the golf course. Now there's one other thing that's happening here that you might not even be aware of when you're working in the different buckets. And that is the ability to turn something on and turn something off. And then transition and then turn something else on while you turn the other one off. And this ability to turn something on and turn something off is an important skill to playing good golf. So when we go from technique to tempo, not only are we practicing our tempo, but we're learning to turn technique off, turn tempo on. And so when we think about the game of golf and you walk to the first tee, what do the great players do? The great players turn off all of the distractions. They turn off the people watching. They turn off, somebody driving a cart. Okay, all these things that are going to impede their performance, they've learned to turn those off. And what have they turned on? They've turned on their performance state, their ability to focus, the ability to be calm. All right, and this ability to turn on and off is key. So when you develop a practice plan, always think from more of a holistic approach. Is technique important? You bet it is. It's very important. But so is tempo, and so is balance. And all 3 of those, the balance, the tempo, and the technique, play into the performance state. And that is also a state that you want to practice. And when you do that, the ability to learn to turn them on and turn them off is going to be a key to getting the most out of your practice plan.